Sports Center.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Colonial Sports Center. My name is Kevin Plaucha, and I'm joined by
Cam Macariola.
If you missed us from the Madness event, we're back to give you all things Colonial sports. We're kind of in the perfect time here. We've got some fall sports that are ending their seasons, going into postseasons, and we've got other fall sports that are just getting started, such as basketball.
Men's basketball getting underway this season. They're taking on Delaware in their second game of the season on the road once again over in Delaware. Let's take a look at how that game fared, and the Blue Hens would fight their way to victory 81-77. Kevin, tell us more about this game.
Yeah, so here's, Cam Woods was the standout, 22 points, 9 for 25, just 2 for 9 from 3, though. The Colonials dropped to 0-2 with this loss. This game ended just about an hour ago. Cam Woods did have a game-tying 3 opportunity with 2 seconds left, but he missed it. Niels Lane, he got a couple of key turnovers late off of Alvaro Folgueras. He finished with 19 points and 7 rebounds. Big, tall guard standing at 6'5". He was a big piece for the Blue Hens tonight over the win against the Colonials. 5 players in double figures for RMU, but just not able to really quite blend as a cohesive unit yet. And I know there's a couple players that could be fighting for that 6th-man spot. Amarion Dickerson, he had 10 points. He went 2 for 2 from 3. Just trying to figure out how this team can gel well, and they haven't been able to do so yet. But we're only 2 games in.
Yeah, 2 games in. A lot closer than last year's game against them here at the Robert Morris campus. But that wasn't the only team in action, as over in Milwaukee, women's soccer began their semifinal game against the host, Milwaukee, #1 seed. And let's talk about this game. It did not go the way for the Colonials. 7-0 final. As you'll see, the HL Player of the Year, Horizon League Player of the Year, Kayla Rollins with the hat trick and just pure domination. 3 goals within the first 6 minutes, and it just did not go the Colonials' way at all. Let's talk about this Milwaukee team. They have not lost a Horizon League game since September 15th, 2022, and they'll be taking on Northern Kentucky in a rematch of last year's final. And talk about a little bit real quick the Horizon League awards at the end of the year. You have 3 Colonials, Paloma Swinkler and Haley Finale on the second team, and Maddie Hurst on the rookie team.
Yeah, we talk a lot about slow starts sometimes killing Colonials teams' chances, and there was one there. You said 3 goals in the first 6 minutes en route to that 7-0 loss. But there was a game before that on Sunday in the quarterfinal of the Horizon League Conference Tournament. The women's soccer team took on the rechristened IU Indy, and that game was a thriller, Cam. That game went to overtime, and there was just one lone goal here, and it was by Jillian Marvin.
Yeah, the IU Indy had control of this game. Looking at the stats, they had outshot the Colonials, but Jillian Marvin would score the goal to win this just 2 minutes into overtime. See Haley Finale kick it up, get lost in the air. The goalie just punches it up, and Jillian Marvin is there to save the day and move on to the semifinals. Back-to-back wins over at the Montour Sports Complex in Horizon League playoff games for the women's soccer team.
Yeah, the goalie there for IU Indy had a chance to grab it, decided to punch it, and punched it right into Jillian Marvin, who was able to score that goal. Well, men's soccer, their regular season is over. They finished at 7-6-3 with a 4-3-2 record in the Horizon League. They tied versus Detroit Mercy last Friday at home and lost 3-2 at Cleveland State on Tuesday. But we've got to look at the bracket for the Horizon League Conference Tournament. As I mentioned, the regular season is over, and we take a look at this postseason bracket, Cam.
Yeah, you see Robert Morris finishing #2 despite ending the season 0-2-1 in their final 3 games with a heartbreaking loss on tie to Detroit Mercy on senior day, giving up a goal in the final 3 minutes here on campus. And you'll see they'll take on the winner of Green Bay or Cleveland State, actually the highest remaining seed. So it could be even Milwaukee, but Green Bay, they beat 5-0, and then it just went 0-2-1 in the final 3 games, including a loss to Cleveland State.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll get some revenge on Cleveland State, but that would have to take a win of Purdue Fort Wayne over Milwaukee. So that's the Colonials' #2 seed in the Horizon League Conference Tournament. Well, Cam, there was another milestone taking place. We're going to switch over to basketball now. Women's basketball, new head coach Chandler McCabe. It was her first game at RMU, first game at the UPMC Event Center as they took on the Point Park Pioneers. And we've got highlights as Coach McCabe looked to lead the women's basketball team to her first win as RMU head coach. This was over the weekend. Colonials against the Point Park Pioneers. First quarter, it's Reza and Sabua on the blow-by. Janiyah Tillman stood no chance, and Sabua, the Wichita State transfer, making her presence known early. And Sabua's going to miss on this play here. Rebounded by Ari Blita, who passes it up to Alexis Giles, who makes maybe the slowest spin move I've ever seen, but it does work, and she gets by 2 Colonial defenders for the layup. Point Park trails by 1.
Yeah, a lot of new faces on this Colonials team, but take a look here as a couple veterans connecting.
Yeah, bad pass by Nyla Rozier. Danielle Vuletic finds Noah Given for the score, and Noah Given, that name sounds familiar to me. Our producer Michael Deemer told me that he was questioning if Noah Given was going to get playing time. She played 30 minutes, and she found Danielle Vuletic there for the score. Colonials up 7 going into the second quarter. Kayla Walter with the 3-point attempt. That's no good. Rebounded by Maya Murray. She ponders for a second what to do, then decides to take action into her own hands. Blows by Echata Ballo, blows by Camille Foltz, and finishes strong with the full court drive layup finish. She's got her cheering section courtside to see it all. Camille Foltz decided her defense was just going to be putting her hands up.
Yeah, I mean, not much you can do with the speed of Murray on that play.
Colonials were up 9. Now here, they were up 9, but no thanks to three-point shooting. 1 for 17 from behind the arc, continuing a trend that, quite frankly, we've seen for the past few seasons. They've had a good volume of three-point shooting. They've had shooters like Mackenzie Amalia and Luella Alana in past seasons, but the lack of makes just really kills their offensive output.
Yeah, first game of the season, that's what these games are meant for.
Third quarter now, Noah Given with a confident pass to Danielle Vuletic. As soon as Vuletic touched the ball, she started walking backwards. Knew that number 30 couldn't play good defense anyway, and that Vuletic was strong inside. Here's Naomi Barnwell with just a textbook crossover, step back, mid-range jumper. Very nice from Barnwell as the Colonials extend their lead. Ari Blita takes advantage of the late switch by Jada Lee and scores for the Pioneers. Pioneers trying to stick in this 10-point game now. Lee makes up for it on the other side with the blow-by. Her layup puts RMU up 12. Fourth quarter, RMU up 16 now, and if you can believe it, it's a three-pointer, and it's good. The only make from distance by RMU comes from Isis Grady. Here we have a slick pass underneath from Noah Given, finds Danielle Vuletic between 2 defenders for the bucket and the foul. Vuletic had 10. Colonials win by 24 to kick off the season, and we're going to hear from head coach Chandler McCabe post-game.
Yeah, I mean, we're a really deep team. I think that's one of the best things about us. Obviously, we're in foul trouble today, so that had us play a lot of our players early. So hopefully that doesn't happen, that we pick up the fouls like that like we did early. But what makes us so great is that we are very deep. So on any given night, it could be any of those kids, numbers called. And, I definitely foresee that, us playing a decent amount of players this whole year.
Maybe a good silver lining, despite the foul trouble, getting more players some experience. As you see there, Chandler McCabe's first game as the RMU women's basketball head coach was a dominant win.
Yeah, breaking that big losing streak at the end of last season, continuing into this season, starting off on the right foot for the first-year head coach. But men's basketball was down I-79 to take on West Virginia in Morgantown. Let's take a look at how this game went. As you see, WVU's new coach, Darian DeVries, and his son, Tucker DeVries, as the 2-time reigning Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year, joins the Mountaineers. And you'll see him get started right here. A 3 gets West Virginia started. RMU won the tip-off, and that's about all they would have in the first 10 minutes of the game. You'll see Josh Amajofo turn over the ball right here, looking for Alvaro, but DeVries gets it and slams it down. 5-0 DeVries over the Colonials so far.
Tough start for the Colonials.
Yeah, it got even worse. As you see, another DeVries 3. 8-0, him alone. And then the basket on the other end seemed like a closed door. You'll see the Colonials trying chance after chance. Another turnover to Javon Small. 10 turnovers in the first 10 minutes for the Colonials. Just not going right to start their season. Take another look here.
Yeah, that's a stat that is almost unbelievable. No matter how many transfers you have, a turnover per minute is ridiculous.
Yeah, and after a 21-0 run, DJ Smith makes RMU's first basket, a long 2 jump shot. As you can see, 5 minutes past in the first quarter. Now DJ Smith has another 3, and then Ryan Prather floater gets the Colonials somewhat back, only down 20 now. But this is a Sports Center top 10 play as Toby Akani with the dunk, leaving everybody in shock. Let's take another look.
Yeah, this is pretty ridiculous. The athleticism there for the dunk. I know the Colonials were on the Sports Center top 10 a couple of times last season, but now they're on the receiving end.
Yeah, now this time DeVries goes down the court but turns it over. And Amajofo with the oop attempt and gets it and one. DJ Smith lobs it up and then through the contact puts it in for the and one. Skilled play by some of the new faces on the men's team for the Colonials. Now, RMU battles the clock once again. The game would go into a delay. How many times is that going to happen to the Colonials? But we move along. Javon Smith, after multiple misses by RMU, goes down the court, hits a 3, and that's just how the game went. 87-59. Let's take a listen to what Coach Toole had to say.
I thought guys were ready to go and ready to step on the floor and play. Obviously, it didn't look that way, right? I think guys got a little bit overwhelmed. A couple guys got a little bit overwhelmed by the environment a little bit and some of the urgency and intensity that they had. And we knew they were going to come out with that, right? New coaching staff, new roster, trying to obviously establish who they are and what they do. But the message was we have to get back to trying to fight our way back in this game, right? We got to be able to execute. We got to be able to defend. We got to be able to get a rebound. All those things. We're just, going back to the basics of like, hey, we got to get a great shot. We got to get a stop. We got to get a rebound. And we got to try to figure out how many possessions we can win to get ourselves back into this game, which, obviously is a challenge when you spot somebody 21 points. A couple guys seemed a little bit overwhelmed, doing some things that seem uncharacteristic. And that's the challenge. Like, can you know your stuff inside and out, backwards and forwards, in any environment, in any situation? And that's something we preach often in our practices, right? Like, could you do this with your eyes closed? And sometimes that's the battle between players and coaches, right? Players think they know it well enough, and then they get into an environment like this, and your emotions and your urgency and your intensity and a lot of different things starts flowing, and one mistake becomes 2 and 2 becomes 4, and then all of a sudden, it's ugly.
Not something that you want to see no matter how many transfers you bring in. Just a crushing defeat in a game where you were down 21-0 to start. Thankfully, tonight's loss against Delaware was a little bit closer, but it seems like this men's basketball team has a little bit farther to go than we once thought. Well, that's all about basketball. When we come back from the break here on Colonial Sports Center, football's biggest game in years. They're unbeaten in the NEC, and so is Duquesne, who's up next on their schedule. All that and more when we come back on CSC.
Do you want to meet a family with a transgender kid? Here we are. Max loves to do backflips. Max loves to play his ukulele. Max loves to just be a kid and just be himself. When I found out I was pregnant, all I really wanted was a happy, healthy, whole child. And that's what I got. I think it's really important for people to know that trans kids don't have a political agenda. They are just kids. Like any parent, we love our kids unconditionally, and we will never stop fighting for them. Stand with us. Protect our families.
Wait! Not in the toilet!
No, don't do that. No.
Don't hit your brother! Oh!
Not again!
What did I tell you about playing in the mud?
Raffy, not so close to the pool. Wait!
Frankie! Happy... What are you doing? We told you never to touch the gun!
I'm sorry, I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
You could have hurt yourself!
Safely store your guns. Unload, lock, and away from ammo.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. Kevin, it's time to talk some football, but before that, we're going to take a look at what happened just last weekend as they took on the Merrimack Warriors in the NEC conference game. Let's take a look at the highlights in this one, and Kevin, it would be a defensive outpouring as you see a clean handshake starting the game, and then Keon Freeman hyping up the Colonials, and the defense would do some wonders in this game. Let's take a look here. Anthony Chickett finds Landon Lucas on 3rd and 3. Lucas gets toppled, topsy-turvy. There he goes down at the 20, just short of the first down. Now, a field goal by Jason Jenkins goes wide left, and special teams for both teams would be an issue on this day. Move on, second quarter, Liam Davis would miss a field goal of his own, and we remain tied 0-0 all the way. That was just a 38-yard attempt. 0 for 2 on the day. Now, Colonial's offense looks to be driving here as you see Sean Charles get up and make the catch through contact, gets him down at the 30-yard line. Now, 4th and 13, take a look here. Bad snap, drop. Zach Tanner needs to pick it up and run, and Merrimack swarms him. 0 for 2 on field goals.
Yeah, I think we have the 2010 Chargers versus the 2010 Chargers with all these special teams gaps.
Yeah, well, the Colonials get the ball once again, looking deep. Chickett's pass is intercepted. And with 2 minutes left, Merrimack looking to go in the 2-minute offense drill, but nothing would happen offensively for them either. Take another look at this interception.
Yeah, Chickett really wasn't too bad. I believe he only had 7 incompletions, but there's just a bad pick into double coverage.
Yeah, well, Merrimack making their way down the field, throwing it deep into the end zone, but Tyrese Harvey with the defensive stop. Now, this drive started on the 99-yard line, but another big play for the Colonials. Sean Charles, 82-yard touchdown to the house.
Yeah, did someone say offense? Hey, here it finally is, late third quarter. Charles just gets a step on his defender, and he's gone. A huge gain. And Sean Charles had a huge day, bolstered by this catch and run. You see, just gets a step, and no one's able to catch him. Finally, we get some offense in this game. I
know, another big play for the Colonials, and this is a big play for Merrimack as the blocked field goal keeps this game only 6-0. That'll play importance in the fourth quarter, but another special teams mishap, and now we're in the fourth quarter, and let's take a look. We got Anthony Chickett, 3rd and 13, huge play to Noah Robinson for the first down. Colonials still have the ball with 6 minutes, and then Julian White with a big run gets it into Merrimack territory, keeping the clock rolling. Colonials wouldn't be able to put any points on the board to seal the game, but on 4th and 17, things are about to get crazy as the hook and laterals go everywhere. Jermaine Corbett gets the ball and the first down. The game continues. Just remember, a touchdown and an extra point would win this game for Merrimack. 4th down once again. Aiden Pereira going deep. Incomplete. Tyrese Harvey with the defensive play. Colonials move to 6-3, 3-0 in the NEC.
Oh, you see there's 6-0. Sean Charles finished with 160 yards. Cam, that hook and ladder play on 4th and 17 was ridiculous, but the Colonials defense was able to shut it down on the next play. And speaking of that defense, they helped the Colonials earn FCS Team of the Week. 3 shutouts in the last 4 games. This Colonials defense has been balling out. That huge touchdown drive capped off with that 82-yard touchdown pass to Sean Charles. And Anthony Chickett, listen, he's been playing well, and the run game has been there more than I think some of us thought whenever they started the season. They have a few different running backs that have been able to get the ball moving and drain the clock on some of these long drives, but they just haven't been able to put up the points. But the defense has been balling out in that game last week. Keon Freeman, 17 tackles. Jamar Shagog, 15 tackles.
Yeah, you see Sean Charles, 2 plays in the last 3 weeks, over 80-yard touchdown plays. So offense isn't clicking at full speed, but when they do, it's one big play for them.
Yeah, and you see also that win with less than 10 points, the first since 2022, 6-0. Hey, any way you can get it done, you can. And now the Colonials sit at 6-3, unbeaten in NEC conference play, and they're coming up on the biggest game in, 5 years maybe for this program?
4 years since we last saw them take on this team, the crosstown rival Duquesne Dukes. RMU's traveling into the city of Pittsburgh, and look at this matchup: 6-2 versus 6-3, 3-0 in conference game. Someone's going to lose, and this has some playoff implications for FCS berths. And our players to watch: Marsha Gog, amazing defensive presence, and then take a look out for Darius Perchanis.
Yeah, I really expect more points than 6-0, right? And you see Duquesne coming off a 31-24 win against Mercyhurst. I'm not sure how many of the Colonials beat Mercyhurst by, but they did beat them. And the Duquesne Dukes have a really special running back in Jamario Clements, who we'll talk a little bit more about later. But you see there the tail of the tape. I expect this to be a high-scoring matchup, a heated matchup, and this is a huge game for both programs. The Colonials moving back to the NEC. This is their biggest game by far in the last few seasons as they look to jump to the top, the undisputed top of the NEC conference standings. Well, when we come back, there is a huge milestone for the women's cross-country team, and we talk about some hockey. All that and more still to come on CSC.
The death of George Floyd, who died in police custody Monday night.
My pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation. It's going to take more than just us, as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to help us make a change, because it just can't be us.
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. As I mentioned before the break, women's cross country with a huge milestone. They won the Horizon League Conference title, the first RMU athletics team to win a Horizon League title. Finished with 67 points, 7 more than defending champ Oakland, and you see some of the notable finishers there. Julia Dill, Samantha Hennon, and Franny Cabana finishing in the top 13. And head coach Brian Delsite was named Horizon League Coach of the Year. Just some huge development here from the cross-country team.
Yeah, you take a look at his one quote: from last to next to last, 2 Horizon League champions in 3 years, said Brian Dell still. But what an accomplishment by the team. This team was predicted 8th out of 11th in the Horizon League, and they're coming home champions.
Yeah, just amazing work by head coach Brian Delsite. And as you mentioned, Cam, going from next to last to the champions in one season, truly amazing. Well, Cam, we're going to jump to men's hockey now as they took on Mercyhurst, and we'll take a look at how they fared against Mercyhurst, winning 5-2. Gavin Goulash and Walter Zacher with 2 goals each. Croy Kokendorfer with 26 saves, giving up 2 goals, but the Colonials' offense was just too much. And you see for Mercyhurst, Dustin Garagash with 2 goals, Brooks and Burns with an assist each, and Simon Bukeller with 28 saves.
Yeah, don't let the final score deceive you. It was a close game the whole way. Colonials cashing in on 2 empty netter goals, but Walter Zacher's offensive outpour to start this season, 2 goals and the game-winning goal on the power play with just a minute left in the second period. Yeah, well, coming up next, we got top 5 plays and our games to watch for this coming up weekend, so stay tuned here on Colonial Sports Center.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Today, we face an unprecedented crisis. Tens of millions of refugees have been forced from their homes. But you can make a difference. Turn disruption and despair to hope and opportunity. Even small amounts make a big difference. Provide shelter, support, or jobs in your community. The more we understand, the greater sense of belonging we create. Act now. Visit supportcrisisrelief.org.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Here we go. It is CSC's top 5 plays time. We're starting off number 5. Home opener for Robert Morris women's basketball. You'll see Noah pass it off to Danny Volotich and the patented and one stomp.
Volotich always brings the energy, and as I mentioned before, Noah Given was my player to watch when we were on the Madness show, even though our producer didn't think she would play very much. Played 30 minutes and produced that pass, and Danielle Volotich always bringing the energy. Number 4, women's hockey. You see Elena Giampetro with the puck, passes it out to Veronica Bach, who scores, goes left side, and gets it past the goalie for the nice goal.
Yeah, you take a look at that. Giampetro doing the effort down low to steal the puck, throwing it out front, and Bach walks right into that one. Number 3, here we go. At Morgantown, West Virginia, the men's basketball team turned over that DJ Smith, tosses it up, and Amajofo gets the oop and one.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this, but the amazing midair correction by Oma Jaffa. You see it here again. Catches it in the right hand and then has the wherewithal to just kind of move it over to both and then lay it up and in. Beautiful play there. One of just a few for the Colonials against WVU. Number 2, hey, guess what? There was finally some offense in this football game. Nothing, middle of the third quarter. Chickett finds Sean Charles, who gets a step on the defender, and he is gone. Goes all the way 82 yards for the huge touchdown, and that would be the only points scored as the Colonials take down Merrimack.
Yeah, 99-yard drive, and 86 of them came from this touchdown. As I said earlier, 2 80-plus yard touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. Sean Charles bringing the offense for the Colonials in not bunches, but one big play. We go to number 1, overtime soccer, playoff soccer, quarterfinals. IU Indy punches it up, and Jillian Marvin, the hometown hero from Peters Township, scores the game-winning goal. You take a look here, goes up in the air, punched up, and bringing home the playoff victory once again is Jillian Marvin.
And that is your top play on the top 5 plays. Cam, those were some plays from before. We've got games to watch coming up this weekend. I'll go first. RMU football, we've talked about them a lot against Duquesne. Jamar Shagog with 15 total tackles against Merrimack. And Jamario Clements, he has 865 yards. He's averaging a ton of yards per carry. And he has a season-high 204 against Youngstown State in Week 3.
Yeah, I'm going to go take a look at volleyball versus Milwaukee. Big day, senior day, 6 seniors to be celebrated. Jaden Hawkman, Tatum Motolsky, Allie Chrisman, Ashley Wallen, Abby Powers, and Jalea Evans, who is my player to watch. 212 kills on the season, but got to watch out for Kara Erdman, who leads the Horizon League in digs. It's going to be a great final weekend of volleyball.
We'll see if the volleyball team can close it out on senior day with a good performance. Well, Cam, that's all the time we have here on this edition of Colonial Sports Center. Some huge games coming up this weekend. For everyone upstairs and downstairs, I'm Kevin Plaucha.
And I'm Cam Macariola.
And we will see you next week.